Now, you have a pretty strong connection with organized labor.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed in your material that you're right with most of more organized labor, if not all of organized labor, opposing devices like NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Does it make you feel uncomfortable at all that you're in line with the President of the United States on that?
No. I mean, you want to find some common ground with people. That's what Ohioans and Americans want. I mean, you can't just go to Columbus or go to Washington and just fight all day long. You know, you got to fight when you have to fight, and I always will, but you always want to work first. I mean, President Trump talking about rebuilding infrastructure, let's do it. Invest in at the federal level, invest at the state level, invest at the local, and put together a long-term program for roads, bridges, and underground infrastructure so that businesses can see that we mean this, and they can see that Ohio is a place that's investing in the future. It's the same with broadband. You know, you want to make sure that you're investing in broadband so that everybody has access to high-speed internet. We take for granted that everybody does, and they don't. And so we have to make sure that we invest. I just proposed a bill with a Republican from Findlay talking about broadband for everybody in the state of Ohio. So some issues don't have to be political. They can just be issues that you can work together on right out of the gate, and I think that builds, because there's going to be fights. That's just inherent in the process, and you have two political parties, and you have different views on things, but you always got to try to find things that are in common first before you just decide to throw down and say, you know, I'm going this way, you're going this way, and we'll see who wins. It's not about that all the time.
Now, somewhere along the line, I've read that some people think that of all the Democratic candidates announced so far, if elected governor, you would be the easiest interface with what looks like to me, likely that you're still going to have a legislature that's pretty substantially controlled by the Republicans. Do you own up to that kind of look at Joe Schiavoni, or are you, oh no, I'm going to be a tried and true Democrat, and I'm not really interested in reaching out to Republicans? Which way is it with Joe?
You have to reach out first. If you can't find common ground, then you got to fight about something, you do it. You know, I constantly am talking about that. Every time I drive to Columbus, I'm thinking about ways that I can work together with others in my party and the Republican Party in order to get things done, in order to make improve quality of life in my community. But oftentimes you find that it doesn't happen. And when it doesn't happen and you got to fight for something, I'll fight to the death on it. You know, I've fought for workers' rights through all kinds of attacks on organized labor that I've seen since I started in this. That drives me absolutely nuts that they went after everything for Senate Bill 5 for collective bargaining, and then after that, they've just chipped away, they being the Republican majority, chipped away at organized labor, including the last move that they made wasn't against organized labor, it was against all workers to, and you'll understand this being an attorney, reducing the statute of limitations from 2 years to 1 year for a workers' comp case. That was a gift to the Chambers of Commerce and NFIB in Ohio, and it really is going to hurt workers, and I fought hard for that. I fought hard when they took over, you know, our developmental center in Youngstown. These are the most vulnerable people. We had good paying jobs taking care of them. They scrapped it and privatized it. They've done the same for food service and prisons. They took over Youngstown City Schools, which is going to affect Canton. I'm going to the teachers meeting after this, and I'm going to talk to them about that. So
you think Canton's threatened in that regard? I'm sorry for the diversion, but not to lose the train of thought there.
I think Canton, I know that Canton is worried about it because the new report card showed that they have some failing grades.
Right.
And so they're worried about what a takeover looks like. And so I'm going to go talk to them about what's going on in Youngstown. I mean, there are things that I will absolutely fight for. Women's rights issues is another thing. The Republican majority has attacked women's rights in multiple different fronts. They've gone after voting rights because they know who's likely to vote for them and who's likely to vote for Democrats. These are things you gotta fight for. So to answer the question, yes, I want to work with Republicans because you have to, because that's the makeup of the General Assembly, and you can find common grounds with like-minded Republicans on some things. But if you got to fight, that's what the line item veto's for. That's what the veto's for. You veto it and you say, look, if you want to override it, override it. And hopefully we can get a few more Democrats in the House and the Senate so that we have balance, because what the people really want is balance, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. And so, yes, I want to work. but we'll fight if I have to.
Well,